Okay. Welcome to my show, Simple Way to Vibrant Health. I'm Stavros Mastrogiannis, and today we're going to be talking about an interesting article I read from Tufts University Health and I think Health and Nutrition letter. And basically, the article claims that losing weight through fasting, it's no different than losing weight through simply dieting and eating less calories. And I actually disagree with that assessment. And I went through the newsletter. It does make some interesting points, but there's a lot of stuff that the person who wrote this article is missing. That's again my opinion. So one thing it says is data from animal studies are promising on several fronts, but data in humans are limited and short term. Okay, interesting. But the fact is, fasting has been around for thousands of years. This is nothing new. And although, yes, there haven't been tons of studies, actually, there have been quite a few, maybe not as many as we have done on breakfast. But what I find very interesting, every time I read an article about the benefits of fasting, they always almost finish it with the same line. More research is needed. And my question is this, every time I see studies on breakfast, I never see the line at the end, more research is needed. The fact is, humans, we never really used to eat breakfast, where fasting is something that every single healthy region around the world have in common. Fasting is part of their life. I know in Greece, we fasted regularly throughout the year. So the article goes to say that basically that if you, and by the way, the quotes are from Sai Das, is a PhD associate professor at the Friedman School of Nutrition and Science. And here a couple of these quotes. In terms of weight loss and improvement in body composition, intermittent fasting can work, but there's no sufficient evidence to say it's superior to overall calorie restriction. Again, I'm sorry, but I disagree, because there's plenty of research to show that losing weight through fasting, it is much better than simply reducing calories. One question, how do you explain autophagy? Okay, autophagy, it wasn't discovered by Yoshinori Shumi. I apologize for butchering his name. This doctor is actually a cell biologist, a Japanese cell biologist. He won actually the Nobel Prize for his findings in 2016. Okay, and basically he found how autophagy works and how it benefits the body. Now, for autophagy to happen, you need to go at least 12 hours to, actually 12 hours the process will begin. You need to stay without food for, I would say, at least 16 hours or longer before autophagy begins. Autophagy, by the way, is a process where the body will start eating itself. By the way, it's a Greek word and means eating yourself, but it doesn't eat just lean muscle. It eats whatever it doesn't need, like mutated cells, dysfunctional cells, misfolded proteins. Also, during this period, the body gets rid of a lot of the toxins it accumulates over the years, or over the weeks. So, if you simply lose weight by reducing the number of calories you eat, but you're still eating your typical 3-4 meals a day, well, autophagy doesn't happen. So don't tell me that losing weight through fasting is the same thing as losing weight through dieting, because although both could yield the same amount of weight loss, it does not yield the same benefits as far as health is concerned. And again, look up autophagy. So don't even take my word for it. Another interesting study compared the effects of eating 70% of your calories in the morning versus, this study took 10 subjects for 6-week caloric restricted diet, okay? And what they found was when they ate most of the calories in the morning, they lost 30% of the weight actually came off from muscle. Where when you ate 70% of the calories in the evening, only 7% of their weight came off from muscle. So again, calorie is not a calorie. It makes a huge difference how you eat those calories. So just simply reducing your calories, it's not the same as when you have prolonged periods without food. Otherwise, how do you explain sumo wrestlers? Obviously, you know sumo wrestlers are fat, obviously. But did you know sumo wrestlers are extremely healthy? So how can you be so overweight and yet be very healthy? Sumo wrestlers can consume over 10,000 calories in a sitting. So if a typical person ate 10,000 calories, they probably have a heart attack. And yet, sumo wrestlers, when they've done MRIs on them, their inside organs are as lean as any lean person. Well, it's the way that they eat. They eat all their food within a 4-hour window and have 20 hours without food. And what they found is when you eat that way, the body stores fat differently. And it stores the fat under the skin and not inside the organs. A typical overweight person, when you do an MRI on them, you see a lot of the fat is inside the organs, and that's what causes a lot of the health issues that they have. So again, proves the point. How you eat has a huge effect on the body. There was another study that I read. I can't remember off the top of my head, but basically they had two groups of people. They gave them the exact same food, with the only difference one group ate all their food within a 6-hour window, and then they had 18 hours with no food at all. And the other group ate it in a typical uh, way: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks in between. And what they discovered was, although neither group lost weight, there was a tremendous difference in all the biomarkers. The group that ate all the food in a 6-hour window greatly improved their health compared to the other group. So again, I don't understand where they're coming from, that losing weight through fasting is no different than losing weight by simply reducing your calories. And again, if you look at healthy regions around the world, they regularly go for 16 and 20 hours without food. And that, I personally think, is one of the big reasons why they enjoy so much better health than we do. Also, another study that showed that a 72-hour of fasting, water fast, okay, actually improves your immune system greatly. So let me just go through my notes here. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Now, here's a couple benefits of losing weight through fasting. Number one, it makes your body more efficient at burning fat. By the way, that is why when you're under eating, but you have prolonged periods without food, you actually lose a lot less muscle. Studies have shown that. It makes your body more sensitive to insulin. Yes, the other way also has that effect, but losing weight through fasting has a much better effect. Makes your body more sensitive to leptin. Now, that's something that will help you eat less food. It lowers the risk of developing dementia and Parkinson's. This is interesting. Lowers the risk of heart disease, like the other one does also. Lowers your blood pressure. But also, it gives you more energy. And the reason it gives you more energy because you become more efficient at burning fat. And since digestion takes a lot of energy, if you're eating small meals throughout the day, but you eat, what happens is the body has to take some energy to digest the food constantly throughout the day. Anyway, I know the one other point I want to make here is that, where's my PhD? Well, I've been in the business since 92. And the fact is, with the amount of studying that I've done, I probably could have 2 PhDs by now. But the point is going to college the only way that you can get information from? Yes, I did went to college myself, but I would say most of the things I learned on my own, not what I learned in school. As a matter of fact, I don't think I teach too many things today that I learned in school or through my certifications. So there's plenty of other ways to learn, to do your own research. And sometimes people say, oh, you don't have a PhD, so it doesn't matter. How many scientists had major breakthroughs and didn't have any college degrees? So, and the other thing I want to say about studies, you can pretty much find a study to prove whatever you want, okay? And unfortunately, most studies are paid by commercial interests. Because think about it, A well conducted study requires thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of dollars. And whether we like it or not, somebody has to pay for the study. So usually people or companies who benefit from whatever they're studying will pay for the study. And unfortunately, it's very easy to manipulate studies to prove whatever you want. That is why you have studies that say eating eggs is bad for your health. And then you have other studies that show the exact opposite, that eating eggs is great for you. Which one is right? And that's why sometimes you can't just go by studies, but we have to start using some common sense and use also our gut feeling. Because to me, again, look at healthy regions around the world. None of them eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they don't eat 4 or 5 meals throughout the day. If you look, most of them, if not all of them actually, they eat once or twice a day. So the question I have is, show me one healthy region that eats the way the mainstream nutritionists are teaching us to eat in this country or in the West. There isn't one. They eat very differently than the way we're taught. And again, I hate to say this, but follow the money. Anyway, this is my show for today. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you liked what you heard today, please hit the like button. And also, if you haven't subscribe to my channel. Leave any comments, and I will talk to you guys next week. Thank you. 1 second now. There you go.